Time of year when the word resolution, it gets thrown around a lot, and whether or not you're the type of person to make New Year resolutions, it is always a good time to give your finances some attention. So this morning, we are arming you with a checklist to make sure you're starting the year off on a strong financial footing. Barry Choi is joining us with his 2 cents. Great to have you.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, so you've got a financial checklist for us. Number 1 on the checklist is to do an audit of your wallet, both literally and figuratively. So what do you mean?
I don't want to age myself, but there was an episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza pulled out his wallet and literally receipts and credit cards were flying in the air. Most people don't have that right now, but even I was talking to my dad, and he still has his birth certificate in his wallet, which makes no sense. You shouldn't have that in your wallet. You shouldn't have your social insurance number. You want to make sure that any important documents aren't in your wallet, right? But also you want to look at your credit cards, debit cards. Are you still using those loyalty points? Are you still using that credit card? Does it make sense to swap them out, take them out, switch to different ones? But also look at your phone, obviously. Everyone's using app these days. Backstage, I was looking at these apps. I was like, I have way too many fast food apps. You got to take them off. Some financial apps that I don't really use anymore, you want to make sure you've taken your personal information off of them and then delete them.
Yeah, well, and to that point, I think it's a great time of year to also look at what you've subscribed to and maybe update those if you need to. Next up, you want to update your net worth. How do you even do that, and why is this important?
Yeah, so this is the topic that people don't really talk about often, but net worth is basically how much assets you have compared to your debt. So it's very simple. You add up everything you have saved, whether that be your mortgage, cars, anything, and you subtract what you owe depreciation and debt. Now, this seems like a weird exercise, but you want to take a look at it because you want to understand how you're doing overall, and especially if you've done it for a few years, you can see, oh, I'm trending in the right direction. And for some people, unfortunately, they realize, like, you know what, I'm not doing so well, but it can serve as a good wake-up call. It's like, I'm going to do better. Because when those people make those financial resolutions, they may say, I want to save more money, but if not looking at what they're doing on a regular basis, they have no basis point to start with. So that's why I think it's always important. You don't need to do it every single month. Do it once a year just to see how you're doing.
It seems like that big picture snapshot of where you're at.
That's exactly what it is, because if you don't, you're like, oh, I think I'm doing good. And for a lot of people, sometimes they're doing much better than they realize, so they might not need to work as much. They might be able to retire early, take that vacation that they've always dreamt about.
Okay, sorting out your long and short-term goals, speaking of that, is also something you advise people to do. So what does that look like?
It sounds very simple, but again, a lot of people say they want to do all these things, so we want to list them out. Short-term goals, buying a car, taking a vacation, saving for a home. Long-term things would be things such as saving for your retirement or your kids' education funds, right? And once you know those goals, you can kind of put your money in the right spots. And what I mean by that, if you're saving for retirement, open up a registered retirement savings plan, right? If you're saving for your kids, an RESP is the best bet. Or if you're saving for the short term or you want to pay off debt, just put that extra money towards your credit card, or put that money in a high-interest savings account. Lots of tools available to you. You just want to maximize your value.
Something that I hadn't thought about, but you recently had to, is also recommending reviewing your insurance needs. And when you left your full-time employment, this was something you had to do.
Yeah, this is really weird because, a lot of people that have full-time jobs and they get life insurance, disability insurance, and they don't think anything about it because, everyone thinks positive. No one thinks they're going to die or get injured, right? But the second I left my full-time job, I was like, I have nothing. I have nothing to follow me. So if anything were to happen literally the next day, my wife could possibly be in trouble. My daughter, who was very young at the time, I made sure I got insurance. Life insurance is essential. You just want to buy enough to protect your family, pay off that mortgage, your kids' future educations. I also purchased disability insurance because it's not just if you pass away. If I'm in an accident, I'm unable to work, I'm unable to bring income. But the most important part people need to understand is when you buy those separate policies on your own, it follows you regardless of where your career takes you. So it's just one of those things you want to review. And if you're not sure, you can always just speak to a general insurance broker who can explain the different things to you because it can be very complicated.
Well, and it can be a scary conversation, I think, for people to have. I know I was one of them. Having the conversation is difficult, but you'll be so thankful once you do because it's like that weight off your shoulders. Yeah. You just don't have to.
And it's not expensive, and a lot of people don't realize that too.
If you're young. It's not expensive
that's right.
if you're young. Caveat there. Barry, great to have you on the show. Thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.